Why wasn't Donald Trump, by the way, told of this potential threat? Apparently, they had intelligence that suggested the Iranians were after him, and that's why they upped his security after the fact. Oh, thank you very much. I guess that was a clever way to do it. But anyway, they had intelligence on this particular kid. Don't forget, the shooter was spotted multiple times with a rangefinder, a hunting device similar to a pair of binoculars that calculates distance prior to the shooting. It turns out that the police had actually circulated a photo of him that they had taken. By the way, they're relying on local, nothing against local law enforcement, but they're not Secret Service. And they're relying on local law enforcement. Why? Because Kim Cheadle won't give them the resources they need in order to have these rallies. So apparently some 19 minutes before this shooting occurred, law enforcement was trying to locate him again. And then they couldn't find him until he was on the roof. And then they did find him. And all the people were like, I've shown you that tape. They're like, hey, look who's on the roof. And no one took him out. Like, what the heck went down there? Why would no one have taken him out? He was clearly a threat. So they knew that the guy was there. They knew that there was a threat. And did they bother to tell the former president of the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen? No. Watch him. Here, Donald Trump speaking with Jesse Waters on Fox News.
Mistakes were made. They were monitoring this guy for an hour beforehand. Yeah. No one told you not to take the stage?
No, nobody mentioned it. Nobody said there was a problem. And I would have waited for 15. They could have said, let's wait for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, something. Nobody said, I think that was a mistake. How did somebody get on that roof? And why wasn't he reported? Because people saw that he was on the roof. I mean, you had Trumpers screaming, the woman in the red shirt. She was screaming, there's a man on the roof. And then other people said, there's a man on the roof who's got a gun. And that was quite a bit before I walked onto the stage. So you would have thought somebody would have done something about it.
They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. And it's an absolute miracle that Donald Trump is still alive today. And frankly, it's some kind of twisted miracle that Kim Cheadle still has a job. I mean, the woman needs to resign. Full stop. Mayorkas, whom she reports to, needs to be impeached again. This is serious stuff. They went way too far this time. And when I say they, I mean the Biden administration that refused resources to the Trump campaign to properly manage all of these threats that he faces when he's on the campaign trail. They didn't want to give him the resources because they didn't want him to campaign. This is why they tied him up with 91 counts against him. This is why they tried to bankrupt him and seize his properties. This is why they tried to put him in jail. Think of that. And then think what they just did with Kamala Harris. We're not going to let him get away with it. We're not going to allow that. We here on the Trish Regan Show, I personally will not allow it. Look, I have no bone in I'm a registered independent because I will vote for anybody who's going to cut taxes and keep us safe, all right? There, I said it. JFK cut taxes. I don't believe in partisan politics the way these lefties clearly believe. They are so obsessed with him not winning, and he's got good ideas and good policies, and he grew our economy. And we'd reduce inflation again. Imagine that, because you'd have somebody who was smart enough to recognize that, oh boy, maybe I shouldn't shut off the energy markets all at once. Maybe that might actually cause the price of goods to go up. If I'm going to get into a squabble with Russia and I'm going to say no more nat gas coming out of Russia, guess what? I better be prepared with a little nat gas of my own back here in the good old US of A. It's not that hard. These people are just too political. We need real people with real ideas. They get business. I mean, I'm so sick of it. The DEI stuff on steroids, to think that the head of Secret Service is more concerned about whether she stacked it with enough women as opposed to actually thinking about who's going to protect the former president of the United States of America. That's just wrong. I mean, it's a big part. Listen, the DEI stuff, the ESG stuff, it's a big, 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 big part of why I created 76 Research. This is my financial research firm, because I see a lot of these trends and I spot them. And so many people have said to me over the years, Trish, well, how do I invest? How do I negotiate the space? What do I do? Where do I start? What stocks do I pick? I mean, look, there's a lot of stocks out there. There's a lot of companies out there. So how do you go about knowing where to go? Well, I have a pretty good macro sense of things. I also happen to have a very good friend in Rob Horton, longtime friend, who's absolutely brilliant, great stock picker, has picked stocks for more than 20 years on Wall Street, run billions of dollars. And he and I had talked a lot at length about, you know, I feel like I have to do something for my viewers, for all of you guys out there that are, you know, understandably struggling. You look at the S&P, right? It's just skyrocketed over the last 10 years. Well, if you weren't partaking in that in any way, you've lost out. And there is an imbalance between labor and capital that's gotten so severe. I still say capitalism is the best system, right? But this is a real thing. It's a real thing. And so consequently, those with the money, they're controlling everything. And they say, oh, you know what, well, we can outsource this cheaper overseas. And so labor consequently gets reduced in its value. And so part of the way to solve for this, I think, on an individual level, is to at least partake in the equity markets yourself so that you're capturing that upside. I mean, you may be working, and you probably are working really hard for a living. More power to you, but you gotta be disciplined. You've got to. I don't care if it's just $5 a week or $10 a week, because there's some real value in compounding all that money you're going to hopefully make over time. Now, Rob and I have a very steady Eddie kind of approach, because I'm not somebody who believes in get rich quick. I believe in picking solid companies, good companies that aren't what they call high beta. In other words, this is like the opposite of, you know, if Donald Trump is the high beta candidate, this is like the boring. not to you know, I love Ben Carson, but this is like the Ben Carson approach, right? Like we're really slow and steady. And there's value in that. There's value in that, because as exciting as NVIDIA is, you know, you're going to have a lot of ups and you're going to have a lot of downs. And so what I really, in my own personal life, in terms of my personal style of investing, what I try and do for myself is to find these really good companies and to hold them over time, because this is how you make money in the long run, really. And so Rob is brilliant at this. He's just a fantastic stock picker. Absolutely fantastic. And we get some great names. We just added another name to the American Resilience portfolio. You can get the 76 report. I got to get to the punchline, right? Because there's a special deal going on for Independence Day month, the month of July. Code word dollar. Just use code word dollar, DOLLAR, and you're going to get it for $1 a month. Imagine that. And you get some good stock picks in there, ladies and gentlemen, for $1 a month, and superb research. This is best in class. I would not say otherwise. I mean, it's, you know, when you put your name behind financial research and you sign the letters and you partake in the writing in these things, you care very much about its quality. This is real quality. So it's just $1 a month, but this is in part my sort of gift to you, in that I want you to start doing this. I want you to start investing. It's $1 a month for the first 2 months. You can cancel anytime. So really no skin off your back. And then after that, it goes to like $9.95. But it's $9.90. It's the best $9.95 you're gonna ever spend. And then if you want to do one of the model portfolios, I think if you add on one of the model portfolios, it works out to something like $23 extra. American Resilience. That's the growth portfolio. We just added a name. Actually, it's in the 76 report too. So again, 76report.com or 76research.com. Use code word dollar. Get that 76 report. Look at the American Resilience portfolio. Look at the inflation protection portfolio. Look at the income builder portfolio. And then if you get all three plus the 76 report, you get a super duper deal. So check all that stuff out, 76research.com. But this stuff is really wild.